my name is Jody Hansen from the Army Wellness Center. We're also going to be known as the Armed Forces Wellness Center, but we're still transitioning to that. So for now, it's the Army Wellness Center. I'm going to be taking you through the class, Fitness Concepts, and this class is a part of the bariatric program to prepare you guys. So what we're going to be going over today is first we're going to be talking about our role as the Armed Forces Wellness Center with the bariatric program and how we're going to be assisting you guys. Secondly, we're going to go over just review metabolism as a whole and talk about how it's going to affect the effects on healthy behaviors and specifically exercise on your metabolism and how that's going to set you up for success with the weight loss and maintaining that weight loss in the long run. Then we're going to go over specifically that a certain behavior of exercise and components of exercise. How can we create a program so you feel comfortable going forward to know what to do with exercise and how to implement that. And then just recommendations, so what you'll be doing before surgery and post-surgery when it comes to exercise. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So first off, our role as with the bariatric program and the Armed Forces Wellness Center. So the first thing, our two main concerns, our first one is just behavior modification. So the surgery is definitely not the easy way out. It's not the easy button, but it's learning certain behaviors so then after surgery, you continue to lose the weight and maintain it in the long run. And the way to do that is through certain behavior modifications. So we as health educators at the Army Wellness Center or Armed Forces Wellness Center is going to be coaching with you and checking in with you about behavior changes and helping you to create goals for those behavior changes. And one specific one that we really focus on with you guys is fitness, exercise, okay? So the second concern is establishing an exercise routine that's going to work for you, and that's a big one because we have a lot of misconceptions. There's a lot of myths out there when it comes to exercise. So we're going to be talking about how to create that specifically for you, and so we follow up with you to make sure that that is established in a good way for your lifestyle. Okay. So what our part in this whole journey for you will be, you're going to be visiting us 3 times pre-surgery and then about 3 times post-surgery as a minimum. You're more than welcome to use our services, and I'll talk about that a little bit later in other ways, but pre-surgery, what we're looking for, the recommendation or requirement for this is first you're going to be taking the fitness concepts class, and that's this class, okay? So that's the first time it's held at the Wellness Center, and we are going to be going over, exercise in general, the requirements, what's recommended, and how to implement that for you. The second time you're going to be visiting us at the Wellness Center is for body composition. And then a month after that, another body composition, and then you'll have your surgery. After surgery, you're going to then visit us at your 3-month mark, your 6-month mark, and then your year mark. Now, body composition, what is that? So we're going to be doing the bod pod, and that is right here. It looks kind of like an egg. You're going to be sitting in the bod pod, and it's very simple. We're going to be doing 2 measurements, and you just sit in there doing for about 40 seconds for each measurement. So it's a very simple process. For this body composition, we have you fast for 2 hours beforehand, and then no exercising, no strenuous exercising, about 14 hours prior to. And for the bod pod, we're trying to get very accurate measurements, and so we have you wear certain apparel for that assessment. And so you're going to be wearing compression clothing. So for males, it's like compression shorts. For females, compression shorts and a sports bra or like a one-piece swimsuit. It just has to be tight-fitting material, no cotton and no loose-fitting material. So why do we do the bod pod? So we have you do body composition through the bod pod. It's a very accurate measurement to find your body fat percentage. It's way more accurate than just looking at a number on a scale. So when you get on a scale, you see one total number. But when we do the bod pod and look at your body composition, we're going to see 2 different categories. So we're going to see how many pounds of body fat you have, and that's fat mass in its own category. Now, before you freak out, fat is essential. We have to have fat. But what we're looking at is how much fat we have compared to our fat-free mass, and that's the other category we get a look at. Now, fat-free mass is everything that's not fat. So that's going to be like your bone, your blood, organs, muscle, and water, all in one category. Now, if we have too much or too little fat compared to our fat-free mass, we run a higher body fat percentage that can run a risk of higher health problems later down the road. Health problems such as blood pressure, cholesterol, heart disease. And so we want to make sure you have a good ratio of fat mass to fat-free mass. Now, when we lose weight, what we really mean is we want to lose body fat. And so changing that ratio of losing body fat, so our fat mass, and maintaining that fat-free mass. A lot of times when we lose fat drastically, or lose weight drastically, we lose some muscle, and that's actually what's going to be happening with the surgery. Post-surgery, you're not able to consume enough calories for your body to maintain its muscle mass. And so post-surgery, we're going to be seeing a drop in your fat mass, but we're also going to be seeing a drop in your fat-free mass. Now, as we'll talk about later in this presentation, muscle mass is very important in maintaining weight loss. It's not going to, we'll get that. But when it comes to your muscle mass, that's going to help to maintain in the long run. And so after your surgery, as you lose fat mass and lose fat-free mass, at a certain point, we want that fat-free mass to stop dropping. And then through what we're going to be talking about today, exercising and specifically strength training, building up those muscles again, we can increase your fat-free mass back up to help to maintain that good ratio. And so using the bod pod is a very effective way to do this. And so pre-surgery, your first bod pod, it doesn't matter where you're at, we're just getting initial results. How many pounds of body fat you have and how many pounds of fat-free mass you have to get your body fat percentage. Your second bod pod, we do want to see a little bit of an improvement in that body composition because hopefully you're implementing the behavior changes that you're learning through nutrition, through behavioral health, and through the wellness center. And so implementing those behavior changes, we're hoping to see a little percent change in your body composition. Now, post-surgery is where we'll see the bigger change. So we're going to see a big drop in the fat mass, and like I said, we'll see also a big drop in the fat-free mass. But then, usually around 3 month to 6 month mark, if we're implementing correct exercise and strength training, we can see that fat-free mass go back up, which again will help you to be successful in maintaining the weight loss. Okay, so what we're going to be going over now is what it comes down to your metabolism and the effects of the body. So we all know this simple equation. So we have calories in, calories out. Now our calories in is going to be from food and beverages. Those calories are energy. Now, when you guys have the surgery, that is going to take care of the calories in. You will be restricted on how much energy or how many calories you can intake. Now, the calories out, that's what we're actually going to be talking about today in this presentation. And we can focus on that through behavior modifications. So, going a little bit more in depth about that, when it comes to your metabolism, there's different effects that make up your metabolism as a whole. Now, the biggest effect that makes up your metabolism is called your resting metabolic rate. Your RMR, that makes up about 70% of your metabolism. 70% of the calories that you burn in a day is from your resting metabolic rate. Now, what is that? So if you were to stay home all day and you just laid down and did nothing, you didn't move a muscle, your body is still burning. It's burning calories to keep you alive and functioning. Your heart, your lungs, your organs, everything is pumping and burning and using energy. And that is your resting metabolic rate. Now, that is not the only way we're burning energy, okay? So that's the main way. But we're also moving around, we're fidgeting, we're doing our normal day-to-day activities. And that would incorporate our lifestyle, and that's about 20%. Then we have intentional exercise. So going on intentional walks, going to the gym, playing a exercise game. That would be about 10%. Okay, so the 30%, the lifestyle and the exercise, that can be controlled through behavior. That is us putting out extra effort to help with our metabolism, to help how many calories that we're burning. And that is actually what we're going to be focusing on today. With the RMR, there's a lot of things that are outside of our control. It could be your age, gender, total weight, body composition, genetic disposition. Genetics has to do a lot with how much weight we're gaining, where we're gaining it, how we lose it. And so a lot of those make it harder for us to lose weight. But focusing on what we have control over, which is that lifestyle and the exercise, that is what we're going to be, again, focusing on today. And focusing on in our future assessments with you guys of those behavior modifications. What do you have control over, and making sure that you are implementing in your everyday life. So when it comes to that 10%, the intentional exercise, this is what we struggle with a lot. I mean, we all know the importance of exercise, and we know we should be doing it, but we also know a lot of times we don't do it. And this is actually the majority of us that don't get that intentional exercise in. The minority, the smaller portion, is getting it in. So what is stopping us, as the majority of us, what is stopping us from getting that exercise that we know we need into our daily lifestyle? And when I ask the class this, a lot of things that may pop up is we're too busy. That's the biggest one. We're so busy, which is very valid. We're taking kids to school, we have work, we have errands to run, we have a lot going on in our daily lives. Some other things that might be going on is we don't have the equipment, or we don't know how to use the equipment. Maybe we don't feel comfortable going to a gym. I don't have the space. If you are trying to work out at home, I get distracted with household tasks. Or a big one, this is also a huge one that comes up, is a lack of motivation, or I'm way too tired. So with these barriers, they're all very valid. However, it's talking about solutions so then we can get over these barriers or get around these barriers. So with the I don't have time, what would be a solution there? And we'll talk about this a little bit more, and we can talk about it specifically when you work with a health coach. But if you don't have time, it could be, okay, I need to schedule it in, physically schedule it into your planner or into your phone. You need to set a time aside for that activity, and it's looking at your schedule to set that time aside. For not having equipment, we're going to be going specifically over this today of what you can use for equipment, or if you don't have space, what space do you have at home that you could use. Get distracted with household tasks. Maybe it's implementing your household tasks into making that physical activity. So if you're doing laundry, maybe going up and down the stairs a little bit more, or taking the laundry basket and just doing squats with it. Or if you're doing dishes, making the activity where every dish you put away, you have to do 5 toe raises or something like that. So it's learning what that barrier is for you specifically and working with it, working around it, of how can you make that barrier an actual solution. The last one, the lack of motivation, and I'm too tired, is so valid. That in our crazy busy world, that is something that happens to a lot of us. And so with that lack of motivation, it's maybe thinking about exercise and physical activity in a different manner. A lot of times we think of it more as a chore, but if we pick an activity that we enjoy doing and that's fun for us, we're looking towards it. We're looking forward to doing that activity. And with being too tired, okay, maybe we need to plan for that physical activity earlier in our day, or make that activity something that is more of a stress reliever for us to help us. And so again, it's finding out what your barrier is. So you might want to make a list of what stops you from exercising, and then create, okay, what are solutions to that? How can I make it work for me? Now, after we have that in the way, we have to kind of look at this as a whole. Because a lot of times I'll ask the class, when you think of exercise, when I say exercise, what comes to mind? And a lot of people, the first thing that comes to mind is they think the gym, or sweating, or I hate it, it's grueling. And that is absolutely incorrect. We have this we have a misconception about exercise. When it comes to exercise, really what we want to be focusing on is moving our body. And so it's not just going to the gym. It's not just getting, making sure we sweat. It's not getting on an elliptical for an hour. That is not maintainable. That is not going to be suitable for our normal day-to-day exercise. And for exercise, it needs to be long-lasting. And with that, it needs to change over time with our lifestyle. So this is a great way to kind of rethink our activity and rethink our normal day-to-day movement, okay? And so as you can see, exercise, as we think of it, more of the intentional, planned out exercise is actually the second level in this pyramid. And that's really important because we can't just skip a level. We can't jump to the second level. Maybe if you have mad jumping skills, but that's not doable. That's not the best way or most successful way to do this. We have to first go to the base level. So this is thinking about in your own life. Do you have that base level, the foundation that you could build upon? Now, what is that foundation? So that foundation is going to be your normal day-to-day activity. So you want to think, okay, how much am I walking in a day? Am I walking, am I able to walk to the grocery store or walk to, my kids' school? Am I getting up to turn on the TV as opposed to using the remote or saying, hey Siri, turn on the TV, anything like that. And so it is those little daily activities that we need to focus on and create a base on that. We cannot skip this level. So when I asked the class, like, hey, what are ways that we can get just a little bit more activity in? Some of the suggestions that the patients have said would be, okay, when I go to the grocery store, instead of parking the closest to the grocery store, park the farthest. You could be nice and let someone else get that closest parking spot, which is awesome. But also then you don't get your car dinged by someone hitting your car door. But you also get extra steps, okay? So that little extra path of walking a little bit further to go to the grocery store or go to any store, park further from the entry. Another thing could be if you're at home, and you're cooking dinner, walking around your kitchen. If you're watching TV and a commercial comes up or an advertisement comes up, just get up from the couch and sit down. Get up from the couch and sit down. Those up and down movements are more activity in general. It's getting your heart pumping. It's getting your blood moving. That is what we're looking for on a day-to-day. And that's where we need to start. I do not want you to jump right to level 2 if you haven't established level 1, your foundation. And so, other things could be, we've all heard take the stairs instead of the elevator. We hear it all the time, but are you actually doing it? Taking that extra effort to get a little bit more activity in. I have this great client that, when she's watching TV, she actually sits on an exercise ball. And she's still sitting, but she's engaging her core, having to balance herself on the exercise ball, and she still gets to, enjoy herself watching TV. And so there's a lot of things you could do to implement in your normal day-to-day life. If you have a sedentary job, and you're at a computer all day, sitting on an exercise ball. Or you could even set a timer, and every 30 minutes, when that timer goes off, you stand up, you sit down, and you do that 10 times, and then you get back to work. Or you could walk around the room and then sit back down. So it's implementing those little things. That is a foundation. Now, once you have your foundation, we go to the next level. Now, the next step up is going to be our more intentional physical activity as we think of exercise. But it's, again, exercise is going to be different for each person. It does not look the same. So if you enjoy Zumba, or if you enjoy playing tennis, or pickleball is really big now, and that's what I've gotten into. It's so fun. Or if you enjoy, kickboxing, Taebo, step, going on brisk walks, going biking with your kids. Those are all great activities. Now, when it comes to exercise, you really need to ask yourself, what do you enjoy doing? What can you see yourself enjoy doing? What do you want to challenge yourself with? But if you hate it, and you're like, oh, I know I need to go running and I hate it, you're not going to look forward to it. So of course you're going to find every excuse not to do it. Okay, so when it comes to that second level, look for an activity that is enjoyable. Go swimming, go skiing, snowshoeing, depending on what the weather is like. Push yourself to find something fun to do. Try something new. Jump roping, hopscotch with the kids. Now, after that, we have our third level. And so our third level is going to be more of that strength and flexibility. So strength training is a huge component that we're going to be talking to you about at the Wellness Center, because that strength training is going to be working the muscles to help you to build up that fat-free mass. Now, strength training, we're going to go more into this, but that's basically just challenging your muscles in a way, whether it's through body weight or equipment, to challenge your body and to enhance your fat-free mass, enhance your muscle mass. We also have flexibility set in there. Now, movement in general, a big part of that is mobility, tying your shoe, being able to touch your toes, those movements every day, picking something up and twisting. That is mobility, and so that's a part of flexibility as well. And so that goes together, and that's a huge important component as we progress through our journey and get older even. We want to keep that mobility high. Now, the last step in here, the smallest portion, is that sitting portion. Yeah, well, of course we're going to sit. We're going to be entertained while sitting. That's a part of our, our daily life, and that's okay. But you see, it is the smallest portion up on the board here. And so it's not saying you can't do this, but it's, hey, let's minimize it and put more emphasis on other areas, specifically, again, that foundation. All right, so now that you can kind of see where our activity is coming in and how it fits together, let's go a little bit more specifically into exercise. Now, you guys are going to be doing exercise workouts, exercise sessions. So what are the components of exercise? So we're going to be going into each one of cardiovascular strength training, strength and flexibility, and then a cool down. So what we're going to be going over for each one of those components is what to incorporate, what are the traditional standards, meaning according to the American College of Sports Medicine, ACSM, what do they recommend us getting in a day, in a week. We also have recommended activities with that to incorporate into your exercise. Now, on those traditional standards, where is your standard? Because we can't jump from 0 to 60. We have to do stepping stones. So we need to create, okay, where are you starting off? What is your standard? And then we're going to talk about that progression forward. And how does that look for longevity of progressing even more and challenging ourselves? So the first one that we're going to start with is cardiorespiratory exercise. So cardiorespiratory exercise, what is that? We've heard, I need to do cardio. What is cardio? So basically, when I say cardiorespiratory, I want you to think of anything that gets your heart rate up and gets your blood moving, okay? So it's exercise that recruits the cardiovascular and respiratory system, meaning getting the heart pumping, let's get the heart rate up a little bit. Now, why do we need to do this? Exercise is not effective for losing weight. Exercise is more effective when we receive benefits from it for our overall health, for our overall improving our longevity. And so the benefits can decrease risk of premature death. It can reduce our death from all causes, and then increase likelihood of increased habitual activity levels. So if we are able to move more, if we're able to increase our heart rate, we're going to be able to do more long-term activities and keep us healthy. And so we do cardio, again, not to lose weight. We do cardio to help us feel good, to help us have a long and healthy life. And so we're not going to be running into morbidities, there we go, as we continue forward in our life, okay? So getting that cardio in is going to be very helpful. Now, I'm not saying go on the elliptical and, get your sweat on for 60 minutes. Good luck with that. That's not sustainable. So when it comes to cardio, we need to think again, what do you enjoy doing that's going to get your heart rate up? Okay, so that might be fast, brisk walking. That might be Zumba. That might be going on a bike ride with your significant other. That might be, doing step aerobics. Anything that's going to get the heart rate up, that's what we're looking for cardio. Now, how much should you be doing in an average week? All right, so according to the traditional standards, ACSM recommends about 150 minutes of moderate activity. Now, moderate activity is getting that heart rate up, but you're not completely out of breath, okay? So it's kind of like steady state. And so that 150 minutes can be spread up throughout the week. It does not need to be, definitely don't do it all at once. But we're spreading that throughout the week, getting about 150 minutes. Or we could do more intense, more vigorous exercise for 75 minutes throughout the week, okay? So that is that traditional standard. That might be what we are reaching to. However, we got to start a little bit at your own pace. So as you have probably been told, Where the bariatric program wants you at, and Dr. Mayfield has probably specified this to you, is we're looking for about 4,000 steps a day. That's an equivalent to about 2 miles a day. So that 2 miles a day can be accumulated throughout the day. Now, a great way to do this is, if you have a watch that can track your steps, or if your phone, there's so many apps on there, you could use those to track your steps a day and to evaluate yourself. Now, let's say you're already getting 4,000 steps a day. Does that mean you're good? Not necessarily. It's challenging you. We're all at different places in our fitness journey, and we all have different jobs and different activities that we're doing in a day. So you need to evaluate yourself. Where are you? How many steps a day are you getting? So do you have more of an active lifestyle and you're already getting like 8,000 steps a day? Challenge yourself. Maybe next step should be 9,000 steps a day. If you're only getting 2,000 steps a day, then that 4,000 step, that's the minimum we're trying to reach in a day. That's your goal right there. And then once you hit the 4,000 steps, it's not a check mark, it's a great job, but keep going. Challenge ourselves to progress and continue to push ourselves in a healthy manner. So getting that cardio training, like I said, can come in a lot of different forms. We're going to be spreading it throughout the week, and it's going to look different from person to person. So we have to create your own goal. So to create your own goal, I want you to ask yourself, where are you going to do your cardiovascular activity? Okay, so are you going to do cardio at home? Are you going to do it at the gym? Are you going to do it at the park? Now, if you choose to do it, at the park or outside, make sure you have an alternative just in case of the weather. And so if you plan to do, brisk walking at the park and it's a rainy day, oh, it's rainy, I can't do it. Well, no, what's your alternative? Okay, I can go to the mall and I could walk. Or I can go, to Costco and walk every aisle to get your steps in. So always have that alternative. If you're going to be, you could even do it at home. There's a lot of step and walking YouTube videos that you could watch. There's, videos for, light aerobics or for light plyometrics. And so you can stay at home and still get that cardio in. You could even, if you do enjoy the gym, go to the gym on post or, an outside gym facility and find one that you enjoy at the YMCA or whatnot, and you can go there as well. Now, once you know where you're going to be doing your activity, what are you going to be doing? Again, I really need to emphasize this to you guys. You need to engage in something that you love doing, okay, or at least like doing. Because if you hate it, you're going to dread it and you're not going to do it. So you really need to focus on making sure that you are doing something that you kind of like, again, whether it's trying a new activity, jump roping, you're going to play tennis or pickleball, or, if you like running or if you like biking, whatever it may be, swimming, find something that you enjoy doing. You can even go check out the classes at the local gym and see what classes are being offered. You might like to engage with other people while you exercise. Then build consistency. Now, a lot of times when we're creating a routine, we think, okay, I'm going to do this 5 days a week, or I'm going to do this every single day. No, okay? We don't want to go 0 to 60. So if you're not doing anything right now, I'd recommend only 1 to 2 days a week, okay? Build the habit first, and then later down the road, we could add more on. But if we don't start with a foundation, we're not going to be able to build upon that later. It will basically crumble. If we go 0 to 5 days a week, that's a lot to incorporate. So I'd start with 1 to 2 days a week, and then once you have that habit, you've been doing that for a couple weeks, let's go to 3 days a week now. Once you have that habit, you'd be like, okay, I feel good here, I want to stick with 3 days. Or you'd be like, all right, I want to add another day, let's do 4 days. Okay, so there's different ways to progress. You could add, doing the 2 days a week, instead of adding another day, you could just do like, all right, instead of 20 minutes, I'm going to do 25 minutes of physical activity. Okay, and then progress at your own pace, just as I said. So we're going to progress forward after you build that consistency of, not getting set in your ways, but challenge yourself a little bit more. Okay, so when it comes to that cardio activity, you can build that yourself and make it work for you. The next one that we're going to be looking at is resistance. Okay, so resistance exercise. Now, when we think of resistance training, I'll ask the audience, what comes to mind when they think that? And a lot of times it's going to the gym and grunting and lifting heavy weights. And yes, that is kind of it, but not so much, okay? Now, resistance training, what it is, it's going to be physical activity that we are challenging our muscles. Challenge your muscles, that's what resistance training is. And so when we put a challenge or a resistance against a muscle, that is going to be resistance training. So it doesn't need just be going to the gym. It could be with your body. My body weighs something, and so to hold up my arm, that is resistance, okay? So even doing this, I'm doing resistance training. I'm the body weight, the gravity of my arm, and I'm having to hold up, that is challenging my arm. Okay, so with that resistance training, it can be done in different muscle groups to challenge our body as a whole. Now, why do we need to do resistance training? Okay, now like I said, exercise again is not to lose weight. It is to help us to maintain it and to help us feel good. And resistance training can definitely help us to maintain that weight loss that you guys will be going through and have that success in the long run. So other benefits of resistance training is we're going to be building that lean muscle mass. So that fat-free mass that I was talking about before, we're going to see that increase, which will then help your fat mass to maintain what you lost. It also helps against osteoporosis. So as we get older, we're more susceptible to decrease in bone density. Doing that resistance training can actually help to build up that bone density. It could also decrease risk of heart disease, lower body fat, decrease blood pressure, improve cholesterol. You can see where I'm going with this. There's a lot of benefits, you guys. So that resistance training must be a part of our exercise. It's not just cardio. It's not the main source. We need to include that resistance training for long-term success. Okay, so when it comes to resistance training, where we're going to be starting is going to be different for each person. Now, what is recommended from the ACSM of how many days to do this in a week is just 2 days a week of challenging your muscles with that resistance. Now, again, it's going to be different for each person of how we are incorporating this resistance training. It can be done with the old school weights for sure, okay? But it can also be done with bands, and it also can be done with body weight. Again, it is just challenging your muscle to create that resistance. Now, with that resistance training, we do have to progress, okay? And so if you don't want to go to the gym, if you feel uncomfortable going to the gym, you could absolutely stay at home. And there's a lot of equipment that you could use at home. Now, if you're just starting out, I highly recommend just body weight. You don't even need any equipment at all. Body weight is a great resistance, and that's where I would start if you are new to resistance training. So if I had a chair here, and I do chair squats and sit in the chair and then stand up, that is resistance training. Again, if I put my arms up and I do arm circles, that can be resistance training. So I'd start with the body weight exercises first. Now, of course, it's progressing. And so you don't need to go out and buy weights. If you don't feel comfortable going to the gym, you don't have to go there. We have equipment at home that we could use. And so getting laundry detergent or soap bottles, water bottles, you could use that as resistance. You could hold it and do a squat with it and add that resistance. Or use, the piles of laundry that we have and hold the laundry basket. Okay, so there's different equipment that we could use at home that we already have. Now, if you want, you can continue to progress and you can get bands. Bands in the other picture, right here, you can get these off Amazon, you can get them on the store. They're fairly cheap. You can get, $20 for a pack of resistance bands and add even more resistance. There's also dumbbells that you can get at home. You can create your own home gym so you feel comfortable working out at home. Then you have no excuses of not going to the gym. Or if you're ready and you do want to go to the gym, you can incorporate that as well. The gyms also have great resistance classes. So if you're new and you kind of want to be introduced to resistance training in a more structured or formal way, going to the gym and joining one of those classes or getting help from a personal trainer can assist you as well. But it's there's really, wherever you decide to start, it is just starting. Now again, just like the cardio, if you haven't started, I would just start with 1 day a week and progress towards that 2. Once you have that 2, you can continue to progress even more. So creating that resistance training for you. So the first thing is start where you are. Okay, so do you want to do resistance training at home? Do you want to do resistance training at a friend's house? Do you want to do resistance training at a class or at a gym? You choose, okay? Now, engage in something you like. So, if this is new to you, try a couple different things. See what is enjoyable to you and that would challenge you mentally and physically. And so it could be doing resistance bands or just calisthenics, using your body weight. It could be doing yoga. Try different things to see what you enjoy doing. Then build consistency. So like I said, again, if you have not done resistance training before, don't go 0 to 60. Don't say you're going to do it 5 days a week. Start with 1 to 2 days a week. Build that base first. Build that habit. And then you can build upon it after. And so once you've done 1 day a week, all right, now I'm going to add 2 days a week, all right? Once you do 2 days a week, you could be like, okay, instead of 15 minutes of strength training, I'm going to do 20 minutes. Or instead of 10 minutes of strength training 2 days a week, I'm going to do 3 sessions of 10 minutes of strength training. Okay, build that habit over time. And again, like I said, progress at your own pace. So you're challenging yourself, whether it's time, intensity, or frequency. And we'll go over that again. Okay, so flexibility training. So we had our cardio, we had our strength training, now we have a flexibility training. Now when we think of cooling down or warming up, a lot of times we think we need to do full-on flexibility before our exercise, but this is actually something I want you to incorporate after you have done your exercise. And so why do we need to do flexibility? Okay, so flexibility, what is it? We kind of have that in our mind of touching your toes. But flexibility, what that is, it's increasing your range of motion and improving the mobility around your joint, which is super important as we get older. It helps with our longevity, and so it's going to help with our normal day-to-day movements as a whole. And so the benefits of it. So benefits of working on our flexibility is it can reduce tension in our muscle and actually help increase relaxation. A lot of times, when you're stressed, you're like, ooh, ow, my shoulders. That's that tension that's building up. And so working on flexibility and mobility can actually help to release that. It can help with ease of movement. Of course, our normal general mobility can be increased of our daily activities. It can help increase our range of motion, prevent injuries, which is a big one as we get older as well. And then it can also increase circulation with blood flow to our muscles. And so it's definitely something that we need to incorporate. Now, I like to incorporate flexibility, like I said, right after I exercise, and you attach it to the exercise. You can incorporate on its own. A lot of times yoga incorporates that flexibility component. However, if you're not doing yoga, like I said, right after you do cardio or strength training, attach that flexibility with it. So flexibility is going to be part of that cool down, like I said, after the exercise. And so we're looking only for about 5 to 10 minutes. It is getting the blood flow to slow down, get through to all the different muscles, and it, again, can be done in different ways. So most of us think of it as a body weight exercise, and so just using your own body weight, but you could also use different equipment as well to get a deeper stretch. Yoga blocks, foam rollers, there's also the massage guns, and so there's different modes of flexibility that you can incorporate in. And again, this is just going to be attached to your intentional exercise. All right, so that is the components of exercise. We have our cardio, our resistance training, and our flexibility. Now, how much do we do? How do we implement this? So we have the FIT VP principle. Okay, so what this principle is, it goes through on how to create that exercise program. So the first one we're going to be looking at is frequency. Okay, so how often are you going to be doing this mode of exercise? How often are you going to do your cardio? How often are you going to do your resistance training? Is it 1 day a week, 2 days a week, 3? Then your intensity. So how hard are you going to be working? So are we going to be doing, 2 days in a row of brisk walking? And, a high intensity workout might not be the best, because one day you do a high intensity exercise and the next day you're sore or you're tired. So maybe we want to stagger that or do a less intensity exercise the next day. The third one is going to be time. So how long do you have? What's the duration of the exercise? So if one day you only have 10 minutes, awesome, maybe just a 10-minute brisk walk or a 10-minute strength training session. And the next day you have 30 minutes. So you can plan it out. How long is each session going to be? The type. So the type is the mode. What type of activity are you going to do? So if you say, hey, I'm going to work out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, okay, so what types are you going to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday? So maybe start Monday and Friday, I'm going to do, brisk walk. And Wednesday, I'm going to be doing strength training. Okay, so physically planning it out of what you're going to do, how often you're going to do it, and how long you're going to do it. Next, we go into volume, so the amount. So how many exercises are you going to do in a day? So if we're doing strength training and you're doing back-to-back days, maybe you want to have a high volume day one day, but the next day, maybe you don't want to make it as high volume and you do less exercise the next day. And the last one, the most important, is progression. We all need to start at our own level. We have a base, we have a foundation, and then we can progress on top of that. And so that's going to be an important part of not being static, not staying the same. As we challenge our body, it will progress over time. We will improve, which is awesome. But then once we get good at that skill and we improve, maybe we need to pivot and try a different activity, or we need to increase the intensity to challenge our body in a different way. Our bodies are amazing, and they will progress, they will adapt, they will change. And then we need to pivot and put a different influence or force upon it so it will continue to progress. All right, so that is going to be, now where we're at is looking at, okay, we're going to be preparing for our surgery. So what does that look like before? So when we're preparing for surgery, our goals for exercise and resistance. Exercise, we're looking for a minimum of 4,000 steps a day. We talked about, what that's going to look like for you if you're not there yet, progressing to the 4,000, or if you're already there, progressing further. So time-wise, that could be about 20 to 30 minutes. Type of exercise, it's up to you. Just anything that's going to get the heart rate up. And then the frequency. So we're looking for about 3 to 4 days a week is the goal for that cardio. Now for the resistance training, again, we're going to be doing about 5 to 6 different exercises in a session. The time should be about 15 to 30 minutes. The type of exercise, again, is up to you, what you're most comfortable with. And then the frequency, 1 to 2 days a week is what we're looking for that resistance training. Okay, so this is pre-surgery. This is why we're working with you before the surgery, because we need to create this habit now, before you have the surgery, before it's, we're preparing you for after surgery. Because after surgery, what you're going to be starting with is back to that walking. That's going to be a huge component. The day of surgery, you will be walking. So that's your base. And so we're going to be building on that aerobic exercise. So after surgery, every day or most days of the week, the goal is to walk, okay? And it's 30 minutes of accumulated time throughout the day, the type walking, and then that resistance training. No resistance training for 6 weeks after surgery. And so that is why, again, the importance of creating the habit of resistance training and exercise with cardio before surgery. So then post-surgery, 6 weeks goes by, then you have that base of what you did before, and we can start implementing that again. Now we're not going to jump right back in. We're going to start at your base again of, okay, maybe just 1 day a week of strength training. And let's build upon that. Oh, now I can go to 2. Okay, so building that progression after surgery. But again, we need to start with that base now so you know what to do and how to implement it. All right, you guys, this is my favorite. So we have what you're doing pre-surgery. We have what you're doing post-surgery. But I also want you to think long-term. Now, when you think long-term, what is something you never thought was possible? Because this is going to be a great opportunity for you guys to get outside of your comfort zone. You're going to be going through this surgery. You're going to be creating these habits. You're going to be having success and losing weight and being able to do activities you never thought was possible. So it might be crazy, but I do want you to make a crazy goal. Do you want to hike the incline? Do you want to run a half marathon? Do you want to run a Tough Mudder? Do you want to, join or teach a fitness class? Think of something crazy you never thought was possible. I had a patient come in and she said it was her 1 year mark, and she said she started kayaking. She's like, I didn't even think I could fit in a kayak. And now she loves kayaking and does it with her family. Okay, so think outside the box. and have that long-term goal of what you want to eventually do with your new exercise, with your new movement, with that new fitness level, and challenge yourself. Again, it might make you a little uncomfortable, be like, oh, I can never do that. But think outside the box, and you'll kind of shock yourself. So this is a really fun one, you guys. But I do want you to write down that long-term goal of what you're going to be doing, because you will. If you want to, you can absolutely reach that goal. All right, you guys. So that is our exercise component of how to create an exercise program. In your folder that you got with your papers, we have different ideas of how to create that, or exercises to create your program. Now, implementing it. Okay, we gotta schedule it out, you guys, because we are busy people. So whether it's in your phone or on a paper, these are in your folder. I highly recommend creating more pages of this, writing down your schedule and putting it on the fridge, or putting it on a bulletin board, or somewhere you're gonna see it, so then you know exactly, and everyone else in the house knows exactly what you're doing for that day. Okay, so you're gonna look at your schedule week to week. This is a month view, and so week to week you're gonna plan and see, okay, that week, what can I do? Because our schedules fluctuate and change day to day. You might have PTA here, and you might have a soccer game here, and oh, you have to run errands here. Okay, so it might not be the same week to week. So plan it out so you know exactly what you're going to be doing. So you come to this first week and be like, okay, I'm gonna walk 30 minutes 3 days a week. So that will be Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And then I have my strength training. So I'm gonna do a body weight circuit training on Thursday, okay? And then you come to the next week, be like, oh man, okay, I only have Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday this time. So what can I do? Okay, I'm gonna do 2 days of walking for 30 minutes. And then on Saturday, I could do a household goods circuit, doing my resistance training. Okay, so it might change week to week. You might be able to be consistent every week, but our schedules are so all over the place. So be willing to be flexible and plan it. Write it out. Put it on the bulletin board or on the fridge so everyone sees it, and you have a little extra accountability to yourself, but also accountability to others around you. Also, use other resources that are out there. So this shows, a couple different ones. I used to use YouTube quite a bit. I wouldn't have to go anywhere. I would just, type in, I want to do like a quick 15-minute plyo workout, and a workout would pop up. So there's a lot of apps out there that can assist you. Technology is at our fingertips. I know Apple TV has some exercise programs you could do. Again, YouTube, there's a lot of free apps out there from the different gyms. And so you can do a follow along workout, and you don't even have to plan out what you're gonna do. Okay, you just have to figure out what days you're gonna do it and how long you wanna do it for. Different things, even such as like MyFitnessPal, they have exercise routines and ideas. And so it's looking at those resources and taking advantage of them for sure. Some of the ones that we really like is Fitness Blender on YouTube, Live Strong. YouTube in general is a great one. And so, ask your family members, ask your friends, hey, what would you recommend? What's an exercise app or whatnot that you enjoyed? And give it a try. And if you don't like it, that's okay. Go to a different one or try a different way. Just because it doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world. There's so many apps out there and so many websites that they're just at our fingertips, so take advantage of it and find something that you enjoy doing. You might do it for a while and then you're like, okay, I need something new. That is okay. As we progress towards our life, our exercise and our interests are going to change as well. So it's being able to adapt and change and trying something new with it. All right, you guys, so just to review, what we did is we identified and explained the components of an exercise session. We went over guidelines on how to create your exercise and what is the traditional standard, and then creating your own exercise, okay? So starting where you are at, your base, your foundation, and then building upon that for future. So you guys, at the Wellness Center, again, Armed Force Wellness Center is the same thing. We have a lot of different services. So you are more than welcome to use these services. So if you need additional health coaching, checking in on your habits, you're more than welcome to schedule an appointment with one of the health educators at the Armed Force Wellness Center and talk with us individually. If you want an exercise program designed specifically for you, we can create that for you and for your needs, your how many days you want to do it, your frequency, anything that is going to pertain to you. We also offer additional classes. We offer nutrition classes, stress management classes, sleep classes, and so we look at overall health and wellness. As I said, you'll be doing the metabolic test pre-surgery. Post-surgery, 6 months post, you'll be doing the bod pod, but you're also going to be doing, we don't have a picture up here, but it's the metabolic test. And so we're going to be finding out how many calories your body burns just at rest. So these classes, these resources, these tests are for you. You are more than welcome to take advantage of them and to use them as much and as often as you'd like. So I hope you guys learned something new from the class. We are here to help you, and so if you do have additional questions, please give us a call at the Wellness Center, and we'd be happy to help you with that.